She confessed, "I feel alive with him." I replied, "Then live without me." Ended the wedding, liquidated our life, cut all contact, and smiled when alive came with medical consequences. Hey Reddit, I feel alive with him in ways I never have with you. Those words came out of Rebecca's mouth 3 weeks before our wedding. We were standing in our kitchen, the one we'd renovated together last summer, the one where we'd planned our entire future over morning coffee and late-night wine. I'm 31. She's 29. We'd been together for 6 years, engaged for 8 months. The invitations were already sent. The venue was paid for. Her dress was hanging in our closet. I set down my coffee mug with surgical precision. "Then you should live without me." Her face went white. "What? No, that's not. I'm just being honest about my feelings. Trevor makes me feel things I thought I'd lost, but it doesn't mean." Trevor. I let the name hang in the air. "Your CrossFit instructor. It's not what you think." Rebecca. I looked at her directly, and I watched her flinch. "I don't care what it is. You just told me another man makes you feel more alive than I do. So go be alive with him. I'm not interested in being your safety net while you chase electricity with someone else. You're overreacting. People in long-term relationships talk about this stuff. It's normal to. To what? To tell your fiancé that your trainer gives you butterflies? That he makes you feel things I apparently can't." I grabbed my car keys. "I'm going to my brother's place. When I come back tomorrow, I want you gone. This is my apartment too." "Actually," I said, pausing at the door, "it's my apartment. You moved in 2 years ago. Your name's not on the lease. You have 24 hours. I walked out to the sound of her crying. The thing is, I wasn't even angry in that moment. I was just done. Completely, utterly finished. My brother Daniel opened his door at 11 p.m. looking confused. "Aren't you getting married in 3 weeks?" "Was getting married. Can I crash here tonight?" He stepped aside without another word. That's the thing about Daniel. He's 3 years older than me, divorced himself, and he knows when to just shut up and hand you a beer. Around midnight, after I'd explained everything, he said, "So what's your plan?" "Cancel everything. Get her out. Move on. You seem weirdly calm about this." I stared at the beer bottle in my hand. "You remember what you told me when Michelle cheated on you? That I should have left the first time I felt disrespected instead of the 10th? Exactly. This isn't the first time Rebecca's made me feel like an option. It's just the first time she said it out loud." Daniel raised his eyebrows. "You want to elaborate on that?" I did, and it all came pouring out. "Rebecca and I met at a mutual friend's birthday party. She was smart, beautiful, ambitious. She worked in marketing for a tech startup. I'm a financial analyst for a mid-sized investment firm. We clicked immediately. The first year was great. The second year was good. By year 3, I started noticing little things. She'd mention other guys a lot. Not in a cheating way, just in a "this guy at work is so funny," or "this guy at the gym gave me great advice" way. I didn't think much of it at first. Then I noticed she'd light up when talking about these other men in ways she didn't with me anymore. When I brought it up once, she said I was being insecure, that I was trying to control who she talked to. So I dropped it. Then there was the phone thing. She became protective of her phone around year 4. Not weird protective, just careful. She'd turn it face down, take it to the bathroom, clear notifications quickly. Again, when I mentioned it, she said I was being paranoid, that I was projecting my own insecurities. So I dropped it again. Looking back, I was a coward. I stayed because I'd invested so much time. Because starting over at 30 seemed exhausting. Because everyone liked us together. Because her parents loved me. Because I convinced myself that all relationships lose their spark eventually and you just work through it. But that night in my brother's apartment, I realized something. I didn't want to work through it anymore. "So what happened with this Trevor guy?" Daniel asked. "She joined this CrossFit gym 6 months ago. Started going 5 times a week. Got really into it. Started dressing differently. Lost weight, which was fine, but she became obsessed with it. Trevor's the head trainer there. Mid-30s, apparently looks like he's carved from marble, has that motivational speaker energy. And she told you she feels alive with him. Her exact words were, 'I feel alive with him in ways I never have with you.' Like she'd been rehearsing it. Like she wanted me to know." Daniel whistled low. "That's stone cold. I think she wanted permission." "For what?" "To cheat. Or maybe she already has and wanted to ease her guilt by making it seem like my fault for not making her feel alive enough." My phone buzzed. 47 text messages from Rebecca. I didn't read any of them. "You're really not going to read those?" Daniel asked. What's the point? She's either apologizing without meaning it, or she's angry that I called her bluff. Either way, I don't care. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay on Daniel's couch and made lists in my head. Cancel the venue. Lose the deposit, but that's fine. Cancel the catering. Probably lose that deposit too. Cancel the photographer. Might be able to get some money back. Return the rings. I'd bought them 3 months ago. Contact all the guests. Make it simple. Wedding's off. We've split. Please don't take sides. Thanks for understanding. Find a new apartment. Couldn't stay in the old one with those memories. The next morning, I started making calls. The venue was surprisingly understanding. They'd had cancellations before. I lost the deposit, $5,000, but they wouldn't come after me for the full amount since I was canceling with 3 weeks' notice. The caterer was less understanding. I'd owe them 70% of the total cost. That was another $4,000 gone. The photographer was cool about it. She'd only keep the initial payment, $800, and wish me well. I sent a mass email to all the guests. I kept it brief. Due to unforeseen circumstances, Rebecca and I have ended our relationship. The wedding is canceled. We apologize for any inconvenience. Please know this was a mutual decision and we asked for privacy during this time. Thank you for your understanding. It wasn't mutual, but I didn't need to air our dirty laundry. By noon, I'd returned to the apartment. Rebecca was still there. I thought I told you to be gone, I said. She looked like she hadn't slept. Good. We need to talk about this. You can't just end 6 years over one conversation. I can and I did. Start packing. This is insane. I was trying to be honest with you about something I was struggling with. Couples are supposed to communicate. I laughed. Actually laughed. Rebecca, you didn't communicate. You told me another man makes you feel more alive than I do. That's not communication. That's disrespect dressed up as honesty. Trevor and I haven't even done anything. It's just feelings. I don't care if you've slept with him or just thought about it. The result is the same. You want him, not me. So go get him. I'm not stopping you. She started crying again. I don't want Trevor. I want you. I got confused. The endorphins from working out, the attention, it went to my head. But it doesn't mean anything. It means something to me. Please. She grabbed my arm. Please don't do this. We can go to therapy. We can work through this. I'll quit the gym. I'll never see Trevor again. I removed her hand from my arm. Rebecca, I'm going to tell you something, and I need you to really hear it. Even if you never see Trevor again, even if you swear on your life that nothing physical happened, I will never look at you the same way. Every time we're together, I'll remember what you said. Every time things feel routine, I'll wonder if you're looking for someone to make you feel alive again. I'll spend the rest of our relationship waiting for the next Trevor, and I won't live like that. That's not fair. You're right. It's not. But neither is being told I'm not enough to make you feel alive. She stared at me, and I watched the realization sink in. I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt. I was just done. You already made up your mind, she whispered. I did. Yesterday, in the kitchen. Now pack your stuff. It took her 6 hours. I helped her load boxes into her car in silence. Her parents called 3 times. I didn't answer. When her car was finally packed, she turned to me one last time. I'm sorry, she said. I know. I do love you. Maybe. But you love the idea of Trevor more. She drove away, and I never saw her again in person. The next few weeks were mechanical. I canceled everything, packed up the apartment, broke my lease early, and ate the penalty. I found a new place across town. Smaller, more expensive, but it was mine and mine alone. I blocked Rebecca on everything. Phone, social media, email. Complete blackout. Friends reached out. I gave them the same response. We weren't compatible. It's done. I'm fine. My parents were confused but supportive. They'd liked Rebecca, but they liked me more. Work became my refuge. I threw myself into projects, took on extra assignments, stayed late. My boss noticed and seemed pleased. I got a promotion 2 months after the breakup. Funny how that works. But here's where the story gets interesting. 3 months after the breakup, Daniel called me. You're not going to believe this. Try me. Rebecca's pregnant. I felt nothing. Good for her. No, dude. She's pregnant with Trevor's kid. Apparently they got together right after you split. She's already showing. I did the math in my head. If she was showing at 3 months, she was probably a month or 2 along, which meant she got pregnant within weeks of our breakup. Maybe even before. Still don't care. I said. There's more. Trevor's married. Now that made me pause. Excuse me. Yeah. Wife and 2 kids. The wife found out about Rebecca. Huge blowout. Trevor's getting divorced. He's losing his job at the gym. Rebecca's apparently having a rough pregnancy, and he's not being supportive. I should have felt vindictive satisfaction. Instead, I just felt tired. How do you know all this? Mutual friends. It's a whole drama. People are picking sides. Some people think you're an asshole for dumping her right before the wedding. Some people think she got what she deserved. I don't care what people think. I know, but I thought you should know. Thanks, I guess. I hung up and went back to work. But a week later, something happened that I didn't expect. I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Hello. It's me. Rebecca's voice. Shaky. Desperate. I should have hung up. But curiosity won. How did you get this number? I never deleted it. I needed to talk to you. We have nothing to talk about. I'm pregnant. I heard. Congratulations. Silence. Then, it's not Trevor's. My blood went cold. What? I'm 8 months pregnant. The baby is yours. I actually dropped my phone. When I picked it up, my hands were shaking. That's mathematically impossible. We haven't slept together in 9 months ago. Your birthday weekend. Remember? I did remember. We'd gone to that bed and breakfast in wine country. It had been one of the few good weekends we'd had in the year leading up to the breakup. You're lying. I'm not. I can send you the ultrasound. The dates match up perfectly. I'm due in 4 weeks. Why the hell are you telling me this now? 8 months later. Her voice cracked. Because I thought it was Trevor's. I thought. When we got together right after you left me, I thought the timeline worked. But it doesn't. The doctor confirmed it. The baby was conceived 9 months ago, not 7. It's yours. I sat down hard on my couch. This is insane. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have told you sooner. But I was confused and scared and… Where's Trevor? Gone. He left when I told him the baby wasn't his. He wanted nothing to do with me. Said I was crazy. His wife is divorcing him anyway, but he's completely out of my life. Good. Please, I need your help. I can't do this alone. I don't have anyone. My parents disowned me when they found out about Trevor. My friends don't want anything to do with me. I'm alone and scared and… You should have thought about that before you decided I wasn't enough to make you feel alive. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I threw away everything for a stupid fantasy, and now I'm paying for it. But this baby, this is your baby. Don't you want to know your own child? I close my eyes. Get a paternity test done after the baby's born. Send me the results. If it's mine, I'll pay child support. But that's all you're getting from me. That's it. You're just going to abandon your own kid. I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm saying I'll fulfill my legal obligations. But you and me? We're done. That ship didn't just sail, Rebecca. It sank. You torpedoed it yourself. Please. I hung up. Then I threw up. Because despite everything, despite the anger and the betrayal and the complete severing of that relationship, there might be a child. My child. I called Daniel immediately. I need a lawyer. Like yesterday. What happened? I told him everything. Holy shit, he said when I finished. What are you going to do? Exactly what I said. Paternity test first. If it's mine, I'll pay support. But I'm not getting back with her, and I'm not playing happy family. You know everyone's going to judge you for that. Let them. The lawyer I hired was a woman named Patricia Chun. Mid-40s, sharp as a knife, specialized in family law. I laid out the entire situation for her. First, she said, don't communicate with her anymore except through me. Second, don't sign anything. Third, wait for the paternity test. Fourth, if it's yours, we'll establish a custody arrangement and child support that protects both you and the child. I don't want custody. She raised an eyebrow. You don't want any relationship with your child? I want to be financially responsible. But I'm not going to pretend to be a family with someone who destroyed our relationship. If the kid wants to know me when they're older, fine. But I'm not doing the dad thing with Rebecca playing mom beside me. Patricia leaned back in her chair. That's going to be complicated. Courts favor parental involvement. Then make it uncomplicated. I'll pay whatever support is required. But I'm not going to custody hearings with her. I'm not doing shared holidays. I'm not going to birthday parties where we pretend everything's fine. You might not have a choice. Then I'll deal with that when the time comes. But right now, I need to protect myself legally. She nodded. I can do that. For weeks later, Rebecca had the baby. A girl. 7 pounds. Healthy. 10 fingers. 10 toes. I know because Patricia received the hospital records. 2 weeks after that, the paternity test results came back. 99.9% probability that I was the father. I sat in Patricia's office staring at the paper. There it was, black and white. Scientific proof that I had a daughter I'd never met with a woman I never wanted to see again. So what now? I asked. Now we establish child support and custody arrangements. I told you. I know what you told me. But the court's going to want you involved. They're going to ask why you don't want custody or visitation. Because her mother tried to pass her off as another man's child. Because her mother told me I didn't make her feel alive. Because her mother destroyed any possibility of us being a family before this child was even born. Patricia softened slightly. Look, I get it. You're hurt and angry. But that little girl didn't do anything wrong. I know that. So maybe consider this from her perspective. She didn't ask to be born into this mess. She's going to grow up with questions. Don't you want to be there to answer them? I rubbed my face. I don't know what I want. I just know I can't look at Rebecca without feeling sick. Then don't look at Rebecca. Look at your daughter. That stopped me cold. My daughter. I had a daughter. The reality of it hit me like a truck. Somewhere in this city was a 2-week-old baby girl who had half my DNA, who would grow up with questions about why her parents weren't together, who might grow up thinking I didn't want her. Can I meet her? Without Rebecca? Patricia smiled. I can arrange that. 2 days later, I found myself in Patricia's office with a social worker present. Rebecca brought the baby in a carrier. She looked terrible, exhausted, hollow-eyed, like she'd aged 10 years in 9 months. We didn't speak. The social worker took the carrier from Rebecca and brought the baby to me in a separate room. I looked down at this tiny human, wrapped in a pink blanket, fast asleep. She had dark hair like me, a little button nose, tiny perfect fingers curled into fists. Something in my chest cracked open. This was my daughter. Can I hold her? I asked the social worker. Of course. She showed me how to support the head. I lifted this impossibly light little person into my arms, and she stirred slightly, but didn't wake. I stood there for 20 minutes, just holding her, just looking at her, just trying to process that this was real. What's her name? I finally asked. The social worker checked her notes. Rebecca named her Sophia. Sophia. It was a pretty name. Hi, Sophia, I whispered. I'm your dad. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry you got born into this mess. I'm sorry your mom and I can't stand each other. I'm sorry I don't know how to be a father. But I'm going to try. I promise you that. I'm going to try. She yawned in her sleep, and despite everything, I smiled. When I gave her back to the social worker, I asked Patricia, what are my options? You can pursue partial custody. Start with supervised visits. Work your way up to weekends. Eventually have her part-time. And Rebecca? She'll have primary custody unless we can prove she's unfit. Is she unfit? Not by legal standards. She's a single mother struggling financially and emotionally, but that doesn't make her unfit. I nodded slowly. Set up supervised visits. Once a week to start. I want to know my daughter. But I want nothing to do with Rebecca beyond coordinating care. I can make that work. Over the next 6 months, I saw Sophia once a week. At first it was awkward. I didn't know what to do with the baby. But the social worker taught me how to change diapers, how to feed her, how to burp her, how to soothe her when she cried. Slowly, something grew. A bond. A connection. She'd light up when she saw me. She'd grab my finger with her tiny hand. She'd fall asleep on my chest while I read to her. I fell in love with my daughter. But I still wanted nothing to do with Rebecca. We communicated only through Patricia and her lawyer. Short, professional emails about pickup times and doctor's appointments. No personal conversation. No reconciliation talks. Nothing. Rebecca tried a few times. She'd linger at drop-offs. She'd try to start conversations. She sent me a long email once, apologizing again, begging for another chance. I never responded. Because here's the thing. I could forgive her for the sake of Sophia. I could be civil during exchanges. I could even acknowledge that she seemed to be trying to be a good mother. But I couldn't forget what she'd said. I couldn't forget that she'd been willing to throw away everything we'd built for someone who made her feel alive. I couldn't forget that she'd tried to pass off my daughter as another man's child. Some things you don't come back from. By the time Sophia was a year old, I had her every other weekend. I'd moved to a bigger apartment with a second bedroom that I'd converted into a nursery. Pink walls, a crib, toys everywhere. When she was with me, I was fully present. No distractions. Just me and her. My parents adored her. Daniel called himself the coolest uncle ever. My friends who'd stuck by me through the breakup were happy to meet her. Life moved on. But then, something happened that I hadn't expected. 18 months after Sophia was born, Patricia called me. We need to meet. It's about Rebecca. I drove to her office immediately. What's wrong? Rebecca's sick. She went to the doctor last week for some symptoms she'd been ignoring. They ran tests. It's serious. My stomach dropped. How serious? Cervical cancer. Stage 3. Apparently, it's been developing for a while. The pregnancy might have masked some of the symptoms. I sat down heavily. What's the prognosis? Not great. She's starting treatment immediately, chemo, possibly radiation. But her doctors are saying even with treatment, it's going to be a tough fight. I felt numb. Why are you telling me this? Because if something happens to Rebecca, you're Sophia's only parent. We need to discuss custody arrangements in case Rebecca becomes too sick to care for her, or worse. The room spun slightly. She could die. It's a possibility we have to prepare for. I drove straight to Rebecca's apartment. I hadn't been there since the day I'd helped her pack up our old place. I knocked on the door, and when she opened it, I barely recognized her. She'd lost weight. Her skin was pale. Her hair, which had always been her pride, was thinning. Hi, she said quietly. Patricia told me. She nodded. Come in. The apartment was small but clean. Sophia's toys were everywhere. Photos of her on every surface. Rebecca had clearly been trying her best. We sat on her couch in silence for a moment. I'm sorry, I finally said. For what? That you're going through this. She gave a bitter laugh. Karma, right? I destroyed us. Tried to replace you with a married man who abandoned me, and now I'm dying. Feels pretty cosmic. Don't say that. Why not? It's true. I threw away the best thing in my life because I was selfish and stupid. And now, she gestured at herself. Now I'm paying for it. That's not how cancer works, isn't it? The doctors said stress can be a factor. And I've been stressed since the day you walked out. Stressed about money, about being alone, about raising Sophia by myself. Maybe my body just gave up. I didn't know what to say to that. I need to ask you something, Rebecca said. If I don't make it through this, will you take care of her? Will you make sure she knows I loved her? Of course. Not just legally. I mean really take care of her. Be her dad. Be present. Don't let her grow up thinking neither of her parents wanted her. I would never let her think that. And maybe, she looked down at her hands. Maybe tell her I wasn't always terrible. That I loved you once. That we were happy before I ruined it. I don't want her only memory of me to be the woman who destroyed her parents' relationship. My throat was tight. Rebecca, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I don't deserve anything from you. But she deserves to know her mother wasn't a complete monster. She'll know, I said. I promise. Rebecca started treatment the next week. I took Sophia full-time while she went through chemo. It was brutal. She'd call me after sessions, barely able to speak, just wanting to hear Sophia's voice. I'd put the phone on speaker and let Sophia babble to her mom. Sophia was too young to understand, but Rebecca would cry listening to her. 3 months into treatment, Rebecca's hair was gone completely. She'd lost 30 pounds. She could barely keep food down. But she fought. God, she fought. I brought Sophia to visit when Rebecca was up for it. Those visits were hard. Sophia would reach for her mom, confused about why mommy looked different, why mommy couldn't pick her up anymore. But Rebecca would smile through the pain and hold her daughter's hand and sing to her even when her voice was barely a whisper. I had to admit, whatever else Rebecca was, she loved Sophia with everything she had. 6 months into treatment, the doctors delivered the news we'd all been dreading. The cancer had spread. The treatment wasn't working. Rebecca had maybe a year left, probably less. She told me in her hospital room, with Sophia playing with blocks on the floor between us. I need you to promise me something, she said. Anything. Don't let her forget me. Take pictures, videos. Tell her stories. I need her to know I existed. That I loved her. That I tried. She'll know. And maybe. She looked at me with those hollow eyes. Maybe forgive me. Eventually. Not now. I don't expect that. But someday. For her sake. I took her hand. It was cold and thin. I forgive you, Rebecca. She started crying. You don't have to. I do. Because carrying that anger isn't helping anyone. You made mistakes. I made mistakes. We both hurt each other. But we made something beautiful together. I looked down at Sophia. And I can't hate you when I look at her. Rebecca squeezed my hand weakly. Thank you. She died 4 months later, peacefully, in hospice, with me and Sophia there. Sophia was too young to understand. She kept asking where mommy was for weeks. I held my daughter and explained as best as I could that mommy was gone, but she'd loved her very much. That mommy was sick and couldn't stay. That it wasn't anyone's fault. The funeral was small. Rebecca's parents came. They'd reconciled with her near the end. Some old friends. A few co-workers. I gave a eulogy where I talked about the good parts. The early years. How smart she was. How hard she'd fought for Sophia. I left out the rest. Sophia didn't need to know the messy middle. She'd learn eventually, when she was older, but for now she could just know that her mother had loved her. After the funeral, Rebecca's mom approached me. Thank you, she said, for taking care of her at the end, for letting her see Sophia. We know what she did to you. We know she didn't deserve your kindness. She was Sophia's mother, I said simply. That's all that mattered. Now it's been a year since Rebecca died. Sophia is 3 years old. She calls me Dada. She doesn't remember her mom, not really, but I show her photos every day. I tell her stories. I make sure she knows Rebecca loved her. I never remarried. Maybe I will someday. Maybe I won't. For now, I'm focused on raising my daughter, on being the parent she deserves, on making sure she grows up knowing she's loved and wanted and valued. Sometimes I think about that day in the kitchen. The day Rebecca told me she felt alive with someone else. The day I walked away from 6 years without looking back. People ask if I regret it, if I wish I'd tried harder, if I blame myself for what happened. The answer is no, because staying would have been worse. Living with someone who saw me as a backup plan while she chased butterflies with someone else would have destroyed me slowly. Walking away destroyed us quickly, but at least I got to rebuild on my own terms. Did I smile when Rebecca got sick? No, that's too cruel, even for me. But did I feel a grim satisfaction when Trevor abandoned her? When she lost everything she'd chosen over me? Maybe. A little. Is that wrong? Probably. But I'm human, and humans aren't perfect. We're complicated and messy, and sometimes we feel things we're not proud of. The title of this story makes it sound like I celebrated her suffering. I didn't. But I also didn't cry for her until the very end. I felt sorry for Sophia, who lost her mother. I felt sorry for the woman who'd once made me happy before everything fell apart. But I didn't cry for the woman who told me I didn't make her feel alive. That woman got exactly what she asked for, a life without me. Sophia's asleep in her room right now. Pink nightlight glowing. Stuffed animals arranged around her pillow exactly how she likes them. I check on her every night before bed. Tomorrow we're going to the park. Then lunch at her favorite place. Then home for afternoon cartoons and probably way too much ice cream. It's not the life I planned. It's not the family I imagined when I proposed to Rebecca all those years ago. But it's my life. It's our life, mine and Sophia's. And unlike Rebecca, I don't need anyone else to make me feel alive. I just need my daughter's laugh. Her tiny hand in mine. Her voice calling Dada when I pick her up from daycare. That's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything.